December 3rd, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. This is how I drew it up. It was very, very choppy. There wasn't that much volume, but there were quite a few legs and swings, but I took a total of 4 trades. The first 2 trades are okay, even though I lost in the first one. And then the last 2 trades were a little more aggressive. Looked like there was just kind of in this gigantic range, but the range itself was only about 20 points from top to bottom. And in there, it was just really, really choppy. There was only one piece of economic data that came out at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, which was the JOLTS Job Openings, which caused this big, I guess these 3 candles here is kind of a spike up. Then the market soon recovered and kind of continued to sell off. So let's get into the trades. So both today and yesterday have been kind of slow. Price action has been slow this week, coming off of the Thanksgiving holiday. So I wasn't able to find that many good setups. And as I said, I think I overtraded today, but I ended up in the green. But the last 2 trades weren't anything to be too proud of. I'll show you in a little while that they're a little more aggressive. So in the pre-market, it was kind of choppy. Then on the open, after this break of this green down channel, it just kind of went sideways. So actually, depending on how you drew it, I kind of drew it a little bit wider, so it contained it. So it's a break. You could say it's kind of attempted to test the low. The second attempt here, but this is the second entry short. It's above the EMA. I'm not that keen on it. If it broke below, maybe. Also, it's on the first minute of regular trading hours, so this could be kind of risky. But I did see a lower high here. This lower high I actually thought was a possible trade. So it looks like it's a push down. Let's go ahead and just see what this looks like in real time. Looks like it's one leg up, pull back a second leg up. There's clearly some kind of resistance here that it's obeying. It was a new high here. It's a first entry long, pull back, second entry long, and then it created a lower high, confirmed the second entry long failure because it's first entry long, pull back, second entry long. Here it fails, first entry long. Also, we have a localized swing low. So it's a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. This second entry short isn't quite a second entry short failure because it moved up 1 tick and then it flushed down hard. So I thought actually this is a possible trade to have taken. It has a strong engulfing bar that engulfed the previous candle with a strong close and enough room for a 1-point scalp. So here it looked like it would have worked. If you waited for this to close and you backed up your trade to say below this guy, you wouldn't have gotten filled. Even if you kept it at the lows here, you wouldn't have gotten filled. This happened very quickly. So it's hard to say, even if I wanted to enter this trade, whether I would have gotten in or not. The price continued going down. So at this point, I drew this blue trend line coming down. But I thought it actually fit kind of well, and I had it as a channel here. And so it comes down, it moves, and creates this new low of day. It's a first entry short pullback. Here it creates a second entry short. This is actually where I jumped in early. Well, actually I didn't jump in early. I jumped in before confirmation. I saw it as a break of this green up channel. So it broke, technically tested the highs here, depending how I drew it. This is the second attempt, and I thought it was a more weaker attempt. Bias is kind of looking like it's selling off. I didn't think it was in a larger trading range just yet. So I had this blue trend line. I didn't quite have it as a channel or a channel I trusted. So here I entered 1 tick below this guy, expecting the EMA to act as a resistance. And it was already a break of this green up channel, 2 tries up, and I was thinking it was going to come back down. So I actually entered before this candle closed. And as you can see, when it closed kind of neutral. So that kind of expected it was going to be, well, pretty much bad news. And the EMA was holding prices down. So that kind of helped make me believe further that prices were selling off. So it bounces back up. My stop is 1 tick above this candle here, this double top. And it flushes up and takes me out. So that's my first trade of the day, and it was a loss. So I should have waited for the second attempt to test higher to complete. So it's actually, one attempt did test the highs. The second attempt, this isn't a very good signal bar. I should have probably paused and waited for a lower high or a failed second entry long. But I jumped on the gun too early, and it just kind of took me out. Prices move up. I saw what I thought was kind of a triple test here because there looks like there's some kind of resistance here. 1 touch, 2 touch, a third touch, but this isn't a good signal bar to go low short on. Prices then move down. It creates a new high here. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. Now this is first entry long, second entry long failure. Also a new low, first entry short, second entry short. The second entry short failed second entry long. I thought it was an almost trade. So at the time I was playing with all kinds of trend lines and I had this big yellow one drawn. It was actually a trend line and not quite a channel yet. And I had it on the low side here, which kind of fit, even though there were some small violations. I thought this was actually an almost trade because I didn't like the signal bar for the second entry short. And even the failure on the second entry long looks like it's a possible rejection of this yellow down channel. But I saw this jumbled mess as one touch and kind of a grouped localized second touch because there was a bunch of attempts. It could be holding resistance, but I wasn't quite sure. So wasn't quite sure. I ended up just kind of leaving it alone because I couldn't quite figure out the read. If you did enter, this would have filled and probably given you a profit target for 1, 2, maybe even 3 points rather quickly. But I wasn't on the trade and I was okay because, yeah, it's just a little ambiguous. Prices then kind of consolidate here. I didn't draw a small little trading range here, but there is a small little trading range right about here where it's consolidating, but nothing really great is happening because it's only a 2-point range. When you're going for 1-point scalp, you're already asking for 50% of the move. Prices then continue moving down. This actually sets up for my second trade. I saw it as a new high here. The first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now this second entry long and even this trade, it's not touching the EMA, but there is what I thought was kind of like a close enough rejection. I like that it moved one tick above the previous. So it's first entry long, second entry long. The second entry long is below the EMA. So I'm not thinking of going long. I like that it moved one tick up, flushed down and engulfed it. Now during the life of this candle, I was watching it closely, and when it broke below, I got my order ready, and right before it closed, because I was expecting and hoping for a close below and a little higher so I could scalp out before this low of day, I entered right here, which ended up getting the fill, and I knew I'd have to be pressing for the 1 point. It has to go below the low of day. Well, so this is definitely a little riskier, but I like that there was a strong flush. Moved down, and I got so it actually bounced off my order on this candle. I wasn't really sure if this is going to actually hold as a support and reverse up. So I didn't exit here and finally was able to get out completely here. When I got out, so I was playing with a runner, but when it bounced off my order here, I just moved the entire group together because I didn't want to risk, having this reverse on me. So there was no runner on this trade. And prices look like it's in this trading range. It starts reversing back up, breaks out of this yellow down channel that I'm currently playing with. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because it's not valid anymore. I'm going to leave this blue one here because that's what I was thinking was a potential resistance downtrend. Prices move up, has an overshoot here. Count resets. As the first entry long, technically you have a second entry long, but there's no good setup here. It's just congested, a little bit jumbled. Prices move down what I think is this orange down channel, but it's just very congested, very tight trading, nothing really nice to consider. Plus you have dojis and it's just these big whipsaw moves. Prices move up, and it hits this high and it comes flushing down on this green down channel, which fits pretty nicely. So this is the first break of the green down channel and close outside, and it pushes and tests the low. So it tests the low, it kind of almost makes a double bottom with the low of day. So I was watching this and then it pushes up here. So I saw this as a first entry long all the way down here, second entry long, pull back, and I consider this as a potential higher low. And it was a break of this green down channel already tested the low. So I'm thinking it's reversing back up. So I like the signal bar here. I'm thinking this is at least going to be good enough for 1-point scalp. I went one tick above the previous because I like the close here. Got in right here. It moves 3 ticks. It moves to my exit order and still doesn't get me out. And so it flashes up. So opens, flashes up. I got a little bit more than I was hoping for. I got a 1 extra tick. So instead of 1-point scalp, 4 ticks, I got 5 ticks, which is nice. I quickly moved my runner up to here, came back down and actually stopped me out. So this is kind of a wild candle. And then it sets up for the second trade. So it's actually new low, first entry short, second entry short. The second entry short looks like it's about to fail. Now this one, I'll admit, is a little more risky and aggressive because it's too early to look for a reversal after this very admittedly slow but gradual down trend. It broke out made one attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. So there's one attempt down. Here, it could be seen as one attempt up, pull back, second attempt up. So why would I be looking for a long? Well, what I saw, and this isn't the best reasoning, so it was more of a mediocre trade, is I saw this break, I saw this green down channel has played out. Now it's reversing back up. I drew this orange up channel. It broke, made one attempt so far. It's about to make this first attempt. So I thought, okay, there's a potential. I don't like that it's below the EMA, but I like that there's a potential push up for at least a quick 1 point scalp. I entered right here and it closes a doji. So immediately I regretted taking this trade. So this was definitely an impatient entry. I should have waited for confirmation. There was no really good justifiable reason to take this trade other than what I believe was a failed second entry short, which it has failed right here. But a safer entry would have been to wait for this to close more definitively and then maybe look for a higher low above the EMA. But I didn't do that. I entered one tick above. It actually moved from here, moved so I can see it's 51.50, moved to 52.50. So it got right to my order, which I noticed happened, kind of today. It just moves to my order but doesn't tick through, so I don't get the fill. I had to sit through this noise, and as you can see, the candles are slowing down. This is 9:03, 9:06, 9:09, and finally at 9:11. So I had to wait about 10 minutes for this to play out, which isn't the best, especially considering this setup was rather weak. But I did have, in the meantime, drawn this green up channel, thinking it might be part of this larger uptrend. So it could be break, one attempt up, and then maybe a second attempt, maybe a continuation for a second leg here. But nevertheless, it was still, I don't think it was the best trade. It was, something I probably should have skipped. I got so I'll move here, goes up, got the quick fill. So here, exit, I move my uh, runner from down here to one tick above the entry, and I got stopped out. Then it continues moving up on this green up channel. No clean second entries. There's an overshoot here. No clean second entries. Goes back down. I don't know why I clicked this. This should be, I didn't take this trade. I was considering it. I think I copied this and dumped it here as I was marking it. But there's there was, I think, a possible trade here. It's more aggressive. It's an overshoot. It starts moving sideways. It's kind of one touch, two touch, three touch. Looks like the support of the trading range is holding. Per the green up channel, that's another key entry point. It's bouncing off the green up channel, bouncing off the EMA, bouncing off the low end of the trading range. So you have three key entry points, a very good signal bar. The thing that was causing me to hesitate, it's at 60.75. So I need to get out at 61.75. 61.75 pushes up and through the top of this trading range to right here. Granted, the top of the trading range could potentially be up here. But at the time, in real time, I actually had it drawn here, so I was a little more conservative. Ideally, this candle would have been a little bit smaller, or it would have been more touches to have me confidently draw this trading range up here. Because if you drew it like this, then clearly you have enough room. So it's a possible trade. Unfortunately, I didn't take it. Depends on how you drew the top of the trading range. If it's up here, you have plenty of room. If you had it where I had it, you're actually one tick short. So I ended up skipping it. Considering also I had two quick trades back here that I got paid off. It was just something to kind of reel myself back and not get too ambitious and too aggressive, especially on a day like this where the volume and volatility were kind of just crawling. And it wasn't the easiest to navigate because some of these were just taking forever to print. And prices continue moving down. Looks like it moves down on this orange down channel, but doesn't fit that well, so I'm not too excited about it. The new low here is the first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short is a good signal bar for second entry short, but it only moved one tick and then flushed back up. So you don't have really good follow through when you see this. Because you see it open, one tick down, and flushes back up. So something like this, if you're looking for a failure, you'd want a lower high below the EMA just to be certain. But it never shows up and it just keeps going up. Moves nicely out in this green channel up. You have a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar, so no trade there. It starts moving down on what I thought was this channel. I didn't even bother coloring it in. I'll color it in now as yellow. So it's just kind of flushing down, has an overshoot here. The first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. You don't get it till about here. It's confirmed, but this is your signal bar, and you wouldn't have thought to get ready for a trade. Plus, it's entering the last 10 minutes of the day, and just kind of moves sideways into the close. So, kind of how I saw the charts today, it was not the most exciting day. And out of the 4 trades that I took, I lost 1, and 2 aren't the safest trades. They're a little more risky. You need to be more careful of those type of trades because they were a little bit jumping the gun early, and they easily could have gone against me. So hopefully the next day and into the week, price action picks up a little bit. I think next week, since the FOMC meeting is coming up, the next and last rate decision, it could see a few more days of really slow price action, especially on those Mondays and Tuesdays. So hopefully that was helpful.